What's up, friends? I'm Patrick Menefee, and I am excited to bring you this week's Motivator. Now, the crazy thing is, we're halfway through the year. That's hard to believe. It's also hard to say. Wow, we are halfway through 2023. So let's dig in. Let's check in and see where we're at and where we're going, and if we've made the progress that we want to make. I'm going to take you through 4 steps, and I would encourage you to watch this a couple times and dig into each one of the steps and actually do them yourself because I'm doing them and it's a very powerful and eye-opening exercise. It blew my mind last year when I did it. So let's dive in. Number 1, look back at your goals for the year that you started at the beginning of the year or that you've created throughout and find out where you're at with them. Now, if you don't have any written goals, just sit down for a minute and think about, where did you think that you wanted this year to go? And now think through each one of them, each one of the things that you wanted, and say, are you on track? Are you off track? Have you completed the goal? Have you not started on the goal? Or is it the wrong goal? Now, the really, really, really important thing to think about when you ask all these questions, especially if you are not on track or if you haven't started, ask why. Dig in and find out what is it that's holding you back from doing the thing that you're trying to do or from completing the thing that you're trying to complete. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So if you haven't started on anything yet, obviously what you've been doing so far hasn't worked. So if it is truly something that you want to continue to do and is actually a serving goal, then what do you need to do differently? Now that also leads to step 2, which is what goals don't serve you anymore. In some cases, if you look at your longer term vision over 3, 5, or 10 years, you might realize that this goal that I have that I thought I needed to accomplish this year, it doesn't actually match with what I'm trying to do. Or now's not the time for it. I can do that next year because I need to focus on something else right now. Don't be afraid to take a goal that you have and get rid of it. It doesn't mean that you failed. It means that you've been smart enough to realize that you need to change and that it's not the right goal. So part of that also means having a longer term vision. If you don't have that, I would suggest looking into some of the different resources that you can, like Cameron Herold has a really good book called The Vivid Vision. You can go that route. Also reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you out. But dig in, have your vision, make sure your goal aligns with that vision. And then step 3 is, what other goals do you need to put into place? Are there any other thing? And maybe there's nothing, but are there any other goals that you need to establish that will get you closer to where you're trying to go? Again, align those with your vision. Now I'll give you an example from my perspective. Last year, I got halfway through the year and I was shutting down my flipping business. So all of the goals that I previously had in relation to my flipping business were no longer applicable, and it would be stupid to continue to pursue them. So I needed to get rid of them and I needed to create new goals. That's what I did. Now, the 4th step, and none of this really matters if you don't do the 4th step, which is, what are you going to do to take action moving forward? Lean into what you discovered in number 1 when you asked yourself, why didn't these things work, or why am I not on track for some of the things I'm not on track for? Or lean into, what do I need to do more of? If I completed this goal and it really helped me out, do I need to do more of that? You can either create habits for yourself. You can set particular action items. Like maybe you need to, I don't know, maybe you need to analyze your first rental property. Maybe you need to save $10,000 so that you've got a reserve fund. Maybe you need to meet a partner. Maybe you need to hire a coach. I don't know, whatever the things are, set an action step that you're going to take and lean into high leverage activities. Now, what I mean by that is, if you've read The One Thing, they talk about the idea that lean into where there's one particular item that by doing this, it makes everything else easier or unnecessary. For me, that is waking up in the morning. If I can wake up at 6 o'clock or earlier, I know that I'll start my day on the right foot because I'll have my full morning routine and I'll feel better when I start my day. Are there any things like that for you that you can do one thing and it'll make everything else easier? So I hope that you will actually dig into this and you will dig into these 4 steps and you'll look back on your year, because by doing so, you can make sure that the second half of the year is the best that it could possibly be. So I encourage you, dig into this. Also, shoot me a message. Let me know how it went. Let me know if you discovered anything that you need to do differently, or let me know what your next steps are. And also let me know any wins that you had. I'd love to share them. So hope you have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you next week.